From the Collins Aerospace Studio at the Nordloff Center in downtown Rockford, it's time for Bergstrom's State Line Quiz Bowl.
Hello and welcome to the second round of Bergstrom's State Line Quiz Bowl. We've got a good one for you today because we have two teams that broke 300 in their first round. Guilford put up 320 in a commanding win behind a 9 out of 10 lightning round performance. Manolo, let's meet you and your team again.
I'm Manolo Chavez, captain of the Guilford High School Scholastic Bowl team, and on my far left is Jamie, on my left is Nova, and on my right is Denny.
And facing them today, a team that not only broke 300, but hit 400 in a first round performance. Luke, as captain, you got 14, which with one game left to play in the first round is so far the high individual performance. So nice job, but it wasn't a solo effort. Let's meet your teammates again.
I'm Luke, captain of Auburn. On my right is Mahi, on my near left is Jamie, and on my far left is Ben.
Welcome back. It won't surprise anyone to know that you all know the rules, given how well you did in round one. So here we go. It's an all Rockford matchup. We start with the buzz-in round, sponsored by Rockford University. Here we go. What novel whose protagonist wins his companion a bet by pulling a half? That is Jamie.
Call of the Wild.
That's a great buzz, yes. Per 2024 rule changes in the NFL, on what kind of play will receive? That is Ben.
Kickoff?
That's right. We're talking about the setup zone there. What book, which ends with a card game symbolizing the Tehran Conference, depicts the betrayal of Boxer by the pig Napoleon and is by Jamie?
Animal Farm.
There you go. That's 10. What novella, whose first chapter depicts a dead mouse in one man's hand, is about? That's Nova.
Of Mice and Men?
Also correct. What president who was investigated by Ken Starr in the? That is Jamie.
Bill Clinton.
Bill Clinton, yes. What god whose vahana or mount is the bull Nandi is the husband? That is Mahi.
Just like Shiva?
Just like Shiva, 10 points. What function, which has horizontal asymptotes at plus and minus pi over 2, outputs an angle given the value of opposite over adjacent? That's Denny.
Sine?
No, sorry. Mahi?
Tangent?
No, it's arctangent. It's inverse tangent. We're going backwards. What modern country, home to the composer of the 40-voice motet Spem in Oleum, was where My Lady's Neville's book was composed in 1591 by William Byrd? That's Manolo.
England?
Yeah, he's English. What 1967 Supreme Court decision held that laws prohibiting interracial marriage violated the 14th? That is Luke.
Loving v. Virginia?
Is correct. In 2023, what country, which removed all fines for having a third child in 2021, lost? Jamie?
China?
China's correct. Lost its place to India as the world's most populous. What most populous city in North Dakota is part of a metropolitan area that also includes the city of Moorhead, Minnesota? That's Luke.
Bismarck?
Is incorrect. I was done with the question, so Guilford can buzz if they want it. Manolo?
Charleston?
That one's Fargo. Next question. In what 1854 purchase did the U.S. acquire what's now southern Arizona and that is Denny.
Louisiana Purchase?
Sorry, no. What's now southern Arizona and New Mexico from Antonio de Santa Anna's government in Mexico? That's time. That one's the Gadsden Purchase. I believe it's how we got Tucson. What adjective, derived from the 3rd century king of Epirus, who won the battles of Asculum and Herrick? That is Luke.
Pyrrhic?
Pyrrhic victory is when you win but you kind of lose. What author of Wonder Boys won a Pulitzer Prize for a novel about the creators of a comic book character, The Amazing Adventures of Cavalier and Clay? Jamie?
Smith?
No. That's time. A good one, but a hard one there. That's Michael Chabon. What ancient poet who wrote about different holidays in Fasti was a Roman who compiled mythological stories of transformation in his Metamorphoses? That is Luke.
Ovid?
Yes. In what country's January 2024 presidential election was Democratic Progressive Party Vice President Lai Ching-te elected to replace Tsai Ing-wen? That is Denny.
Taiwan.
Is correct. What home country of former San Antonio Spurs player Manu Ginobili was once led by President Juan Perón and is governed from Buenos Aires? Luke.
Argentina.
Is correct. And that's the end of the round. We're off to another flyer here. Guilford with 30, Auburn with 100. We'll see you for the volleyball round right after this. And welcome back to our intra-city matchup between Guilford and Auburn. It'll be time for the volleyball round, but first I want to thank our judge today, who is Michelle Markham, the Public Information Officer for the Rockford Police Department. Michelle, thank you for your help today and making sure that we're following all the rules. The volleyball round is now, though, and Auburn is going to be going first. We know that these are teamwork questions. We know that the answers have to come from the captains, which is Luke and now Sam. Good luck. We start with Auburn. What novel, whose frame story begins in the year 1801 as Mr. Lockwood visits the isolated Yorkshire home of Heathcliff, was written by Emily Bronte?
Wuthering Heights.
Yes, Guilford. What captive emperor's death sparked a deadly battle called La Noche Triste the following evening?
Bolivar.
No, that's Montezuma. We're with the Aztecs here. Auburn. In what century, when the War of the League of Cambrai took place, did the Council of Trent try to counter the effects of the Protestant Reformation?
I'm pretty sure. Fifth.
No, the 16th century, the 1500s.
Wait, Trent.
Guilford. What musical in which a reprise of I'll Cover You is sung during Angel's funeral is set among bohemian New Yorkers during the AIDS crisis?
Pass.
That one's Rent.
Okay.
Auburn. The president of France also serves as a co-prince of what landlocked country whose official language is Catalan?
Andorra.
Yes. Guilford. What book that begins on a cruising yawl called the Nellie describes the cruelty of the colonial ivory trader Kurtz and was written by Joseph Conrad?
Treasure. No.
Sure, let's go with that.
Treasure Island.
No, that one's Heart of Darkness. Auburn. What British author defended gloomy literature in the poem Terence, This Is Stupid Stuff and described a runner's funeral in To an Athlete Dying Young?
Hoosman.
Yep, usually pronounced Houseman, but obviously you're correct. Guilford. What explorer, whose son Sebastian, named the Rio de la Plata, sailed for Henry VII of England and in 1497 discovered the mainland of North America?
No, that's not English.
It's English.
That's time. That one's John Cabot, despite the name, an Italian guy. Auburn. The Etymonanke in Babylon and a great structure in Ur were examples of what stepped pyramid-like religious buildings of ancient Mesopotamia?
Ziggurat.
Is correct. Guilford. What technique is used in the Winkler test to measure dissolved oxygen levels and can use a base to find an unknown concentration of an acid?
pH test or pH test?
No, that one's titration. Auburn. What actor played a futuristic fighter pilot who lands in the year 2022 in The Atom Project and superhero Wade Wilson in Deadpool and Wolverine?
It's Ryan Reynolds? Yeah. Ryan Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds. Guilford. In 2024, Laxman Narasimhan stepped down as CEO of what company, which, under Howard Schultz, opposed a drive that led over 400 of its stores to unionize?
GameStop. Starbucks?
Is right.
Okay. There's a
I don't think you were sure there, but you were definitely right, and that's what matters. That's the end of the round. Guilford with 40, Auburn with 150. Let's put the points away and play for some pizza right after this.
Famously dramatized in William Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar, the dictator was warned to beware of what?
And welcome back to Quiz Bowl. It is time for the Bergstrom bonus question. This one's not for any points. Instead, if you get it, your team will get a pizza and pasta party compliments of Salamone's Italian Restaurant. It's one question. It's on the buzzer. Here we go. In a famous episode from William Shakespeare's play Julius Caesar, the dictator was warned to beware of what? That's Luke.
The Ides of March.
You've done it. And if you're wondering when the Ides of March is, it's March 15th, which is this weekend. We'll be right back for the lightning round after this. And welcome back. Now, we've got a 110-point game, but 100 points directed at each team in this round alone, because it's time for the lightning round, which is powered by IBEW NECA. Guilford, you're going to have the first choice of 3 lightning rounds. They are the RMS Titanic, State Borders, and Divine Comedy.
State Borders.
Okay. So we know, Manolo, all the answers are coming from you. We know it's 60 seconds. We know it's 10 questions. I'm going to need you to name the state, given clues about states that border it.
Okay.
60 seconds on the clock. Good luck. Island state bordered by no others.
Hawaii.
Yes. The largest state that is bordered by no others.
Alaska.
Yes. Georgia and Alabama are to its north.
Tennessee.
No. Oregon is to its south and Idaho to its east.
Montana.
No. Oklahoma is to its north.
Texas.
Yes. The only state it borders is New Hampshire.
Vermont.
No. Massachusetts is to its north and Connecticut to its west.
Rhode Island.
Yes. Kansas is to its east and Utah to its west.
Pass.
Montana is to its west and Iowa to its east.
North Dakota.
No. Missouri is one of the 8 states that it borders.
Missouri.
No. And Kansas is to its east and Utah is to its west.
Pass.
And we're out of time. But also that was the last question, so if we had more time, I was just going to read it again to you. You got 4 of those right for 40 points. Auburn, you're going to have 30 seconds to name some states, given clues about states that border them. Here we go. Georgia and Alabama are to its north.
Florida.
Yes. Oregon is to its south and Idaho to its east.
Washington.
Yes. Only state it borders is New Hampshire.
Maine.
Yes. Kansas is to its east and Utah to its west.
Colorado.
Yes. Montana is to its west and Iowa to its east.
Minnesota.
No. And Missouri is one of 8 states that it borders.
Sure. Kentucky.
No. And you have a little bit more time, but none to get through on there. So you get 4 of them yourself. That leaves us with 2. I think Guilford a little closer on the one between Montana and Iowa. That is South Dakota. And then there are, I believe, 2 states that border 8 states. Missouri is one of them. But with Missouri in the question, it needs to be Tennessee. So 40 and 40 there. Auburn now gets its pick of our 2 remaining lightning rounds, which are Divine Comedy and the RMS Titanic.
Let's do Divine Comedy, I guess.
It's probably got to be like, where in hell are these people from?
Yeah. Divine Comedy.
Okay. Name these people, either real or mythical, that are referred to in the Divine Comedy. 10 questions, 60 seconds. Guilford, you know that anything they miss is coming your way. Here we go. First man mentioned in the Bible.
Adam.
Yes. Egyptian queen who had an affair with Mark Antony.
Cleopatra.
Yes. Student of Plato who wrote the Poetics.
Aristotle.
Yes. Mythical Greek performer of 12 labors.
Heracles.
Yes. Roman poet of the Aeneid.
Virgil.
Yes. Mythical musician who loved Eurydice.
Orpheus.
Yes. Roman emperor whose column depicts the Dacian Wars.
Trajan. Trajan.
Yes. The great pope who names a style of chant.
Gregory.
Yes. Venerable monk who wrote the ecclesiastical history of the English people.
Pass.
Pre-Socratic philosopher from Miletus who thought that everything is made of water.
Pass.
Venerable monk who wrote the ecclesiastical history of the English people.
Herodotus.
No. Pre-Socratic philosopher from Miletus who thought that everything is made of water. Time. So those last two got past you there, but you got the first 8 for a solid 80 points. Guilford, the remaining 2, you're going to have 30 seconds to name me some people, either real or mythical, that are referred to in the Divine Comedy. Beginning with venerable monk who wrote the ecclesiastical history of the English people.
Arthur?
No. And pre-Socratic philosopher from Miletus who thought that everything is made of water.
Socrates.
Sorry, no. And that's the 2 you had, so we're done with your half of it. The venerable monk, it's because he's often referred to as the venerable Bede, B-E-D-E. And the pre-Socratic philosopher from Miletus there is Thales of Miletus. So those last 2 very hard, not a surprise that it got past both teams, but Auburn, congrats on the 80 there. So we have Auburn with 270 and we have Guilford with 80. We're back for a 20-point per question buzzer round right after this. And welcome back to Bergstrom State Line Quiz Bowl. It's time for the final challenge, which is brought to you by Mercy Health. This is on the buzzer. It is individual questions, and every right answer gets your team 20 points. So while Auburn has a lead right now, these scores are both going to start flying up pretty fast. Good luck. What politician introduced the 1909 People's Budget as Chancellor of the Exchequer and later became British Prime Minister midway through World War I? Luke?
Blair.
No.
It's not.
Guilford, I was done, but if you want to buzz. Manolo.
Churchill.
That's David Lloyd George. What French scientist whose constant K sub E appears in his law describing the force between charged particles names the SI unit of charge?
Just like
Oh, Mahi?
amperes.
Sorry, no. Reese?
Pharaohs?
No, that one is Coulomb for charge. Light belongs to what class of waves, which can be polarized as they oscillate perpendicularly to the wavefront's motion, unlike longitudinal waves? That's Reese.
Latitudinal?
Worth a try, but no. Mahi?
Transversal.
That'll work, yes. Transversal as a word form. What king, who in 1200 controversially married Isabella of Angoulême, was forced by his barons in 1215 to sign a... That is Luke.
John.
That's King John. I was about to say Magna Carta, so good job getting in before that. In the 19th century, Edward Lear greatly popularized what short poetic form that typically obeys the rhyme scheme A-A-B... Jamie?
Limerick.
A-A-B-B-A, that's right. What first name is shared by the author of Democracy and Education and an English philosopher who considered the mind a tabula rasa, surnamed Luke? That's time, I'm sorry. The last word of the question is surnamed Locke. Sam?
Thomas.
No, that's actually John Locke and John Dewey at the start of the question. What musical instruments manufacturers include the Austrian company Bösendorfer and the German-American company Steinway & Sons? That's Ben.
Piano.
Is correct. What phenomenon with a common dizygotic form and a very rare conjoined form results in offspring? That is Luke.
Twins.
That's the phenomenon, having or being twins. What modern-day country, whose highest peak was formerly called Communism Peak, is a former Soviet republic whose capital is Dushanbe? Jamie?
Tajikistan.
Good job. What country's waters contain the tongue of the ocean, a deep region that borders the island of New Providence, which is home to its capital, Nassau? Luke?
Bahamas.
Is correct. What explorer who established Les Meadows founded the settlement of Vinland in present-day Newfoundland? Luke?
Erickson.
That's all I need. Leif Erikson specifically, but yes. What man who was represented by Roswell Field in a case that he lost to John Sanford in 1853? Wasn't it? That is Luke?
Dred Scott.
Dred Scott is correct. And that's the game. Auburn, I was impressed with 400 in your first game, and now you've put up 450. You should be proud, and we'll see you in the quarterfinals. Guilford ran into a steamroller there, but acquitted yourself very well. It's been an absolute pleasure having you, and we'll see you next season. Everyone else, see you next week.